Welcome to Matt's Garage. So today we're going to take a little drive in my 1990 Lincoln Town Car. I've had this car for about 1.5 years now. Just listen to that 5-liter purr, hey? And put our belt on here for safety. So I'm just going to head out. I'm going to give you my full thoughts on this car after owning it for 1.5 years actually. It's a busy highway, so I gotta gas it hard to get out here. So I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but I've got a bit of a louder muffler on it. It's a Cherry Bomb turbo. It's baffled, but it's a high flow performance muffler. Gives it a nice little rumble. So I paid $450 for this car about 1.5 years ago, and I actually bought it for a parts vehicle, and on the way home I fell in love with it. There's something about this car, there's just like good karma in it or something. The guy before me, I believe he was the original owner. I bought it off his son-in-law, but he owned the car for a long time anyways, and then it ended up the air suspension on it was leaky, so he parked it and got a different car. So when I got it, it looked a little sad. It had been parked in a field for 5 years, and I picked it up for $450. And I mean, if I hadn't have bought it, it would have went for a demolition derby car, guaranteed. So it happens the car's in that price range in my area. So I got it home, and I spent, how much did I spend on it? Well, I'm into it to date for about $1,200, including buying it, including the $450 I spent on it. Now it did have a rusty frame rail, which I'll show you how I repaired that when we stop here and stuff, but I did, you know, what I did was basically get it caught up on maintenance, because it was, although the old dude had maintained it good over the years, of course, towards the end there he probably was a little lax, and it was definitely behind on some things. So I got all the fluids changed out, did a full tune-up on it, all that kind of thing. Just turning onto a back road here. A little less traffic. Of course, that truck's gonna follow me. And this is the other thing, you get these Lincolns out here on a gravel road and it just turns it into asphalt. I'm doing 80 kilometers an hour right now, driving the car with 2 fingers, and you'd swear you're out on the highway. It just sops up every bump. This is where these cars excel. So yeah, I'm into it for $1,200. I put a coil spring kit in it. I did a bunch of tune-up parts like spark plugs and wires, cap rotor, all that kind of stuff, new coil, all that stuff. Just I renewed it all, and ever since then I've just been driving the car completely trouble-free. We've been using it for our family car. I use it pretty much daily, and I also installed a tow hitch on it, and I tow with it. So, muddy back road here. So I do call this car my beater Lincoln, and I guess just because of the money I have into it, and also it is rather a rusty car. But that was also part of why I decided to put it on the road, because I stress too much over my cars, and I wanted a Lincoln that I could just sort of relax with. Lincolns are a car that I get really easily attached to, and even this one, I baby it like crazy. I'm just gonna give you guys a bit of a rev here to show you the exhaust note. I love the sound of a 5-liter engine. There we go, blew a little carbon auger. Here she is from the outside. If you watch the channel regularly, I'm sure you've seen the car before. So I'm just gonna get right into it. I mean, I love this car. There's no denying that. I've got almost nothing negative to say about it. In fact, I really struggle to find anything negative. I guess I could say it's not the quickest car, but it's not really its job to be quick. It's a luxury car. I don't have air conditioning in it. I took the air conditioning system out. It's just a basic car. It's not loaded up with options, and that's the way I like it. I just want a smooth riding car, so it's the smooth top. It doesn't have the sunroof or anything. But this is the main bulk of you see that big dent there. I don't know how well it shows on camera, but that's the bulk of the dents in the car, really. The trunk lid has a few in it, and it's got some hail dents in it as well, but mostly it's rusty. When I got the car, it was actually in a really good state of maintenance considering the price I paid for it. I didn't have to do any brake work. I didn't have to do anything with the steering or front suspension. As I said, it had new tires on it, had a good windshield in it. I had to do exhaust work. I replaced most of the exhaust system. Other than that, it was pretty well good to go. I mean, I've still only got $1,200 into this car to date, and that's after driving 11,000 kilometers in it, which is about 8,000 miles. If you're ever looking at buying one of these Lincolns, like a 1990 or newer Lincoln, maybe even the older ones, I'm not sure, but I know this era of them, they are really bad for rusting in the frame rail right behind the wheel. So in this area, all in here, you need to check really good because that's where the air conditioning drain is. And it rots out here. So when I got this one, I could stick my hand through this area. You can see it looks all good and solid now, but I actually welded that all up. And I spent a couple days working on it to make it look really good. And it looks just like factory. You can't tell where I repaired it at all. And it's at least as strong as it was from the factory too. I made sure of that. So I didn't consider that a big deal, but that was part of the reason why I got the car so cheaply, that, and it's just really rusty, but as I said, that just doesn't bother me too much. I mean, you buy a new car and it rusts out in 5 years also in this area, so, believe it or not, this is my favorite interior. I love the velour seats, and I love the red velour in particular. I've got an original Lincoln key tag that actually came to me with my 91. When I got rid of my 91, I kept it with this car. I've got, it didn't come with it, but I found an original cigarette lighter to go in it. And it's got the original airbag delete in it. One thing I really love about this car is the seats. I had the Cartier model before, and the Cartier model actually has an extra 1.5 inches of really soft foam on top of the seats. And I don't actually like that because when you go around the corner and stuff, it's not near as supportive. So these seats in the base model town cars like the Executive, in 90 by the way, they didn't have an Executive, they just had a town car base, and that's what this car is. But these seats are just the right firmness for me, and they fit my back and everything perfectly. So they're about the most comfortable seat I've ever sat in, and I'm including house furniture in that too. They are just amazing. Then back here you can see just how much legroom you get. I mean, these are a true luxury car. There's the odometer there. That's in kilometers there. I'll just change it to miles. I love this dark wood in the dash too. I actually have a 94 that's got the same interior but with the lighter wood, and it doesn't look near as good. So originally when I was going to look at buying this car, that was my thought, is that I could use it for a parts car for my 94 because that's my project car. But, you know, this car is too nice to turn into parts. And I was going to peel the steering wheel cover off when I first got the car, and then I thought better of it. It's kind of part of the car at this point. It's probably been on there since it was nearly new. All the cars had these at one time, so I guess I left it on there for that reason. It's kind of retro at this point, and it reminds me of the one my parents had on their car when I was little. This car's got a really good smell in it. Like, I'm not joking, it still has like a new car scent in it. See, I don't have any air fresheners or anything. It's also got the optional auto dimming headlights. I've never tried them on this car. I did use them on my 91, and I found that they dim too late, and so they tended to annoy people. So here's a little custom touch that I added that I'm sure a lot of people will find tacky, but the plastic lock piece actually was broken out here, and I found a 1/4 inch bolt threads in there perfectly into the piece behind, and so now I can lock and unlock the door with that. I actually don't have the power lock actuator hooked up on the driver's door because I don't like it. I don't like getting locked out by it or whatever. I prefer to lock and unlock it manually. So I did that so I would have that ability. One cool feature is you got these little, they're a little tough to get open. Got these nice big pockets in the door here. And people are always talking about how many ashtrays cars have, so let's count them up. We got one there, and then got one right there, and I believe there's one on each side. See, there's even a cigarette lighter in the back there. So in total there's 4 ashtrays in the car. But 90's definitely my favorite year with this additional chrome moldings on here and just all the little touches. I did another video comparing this 90 to a 91 that I owned before. I had a 91 Cartier actually, and I did a full comparison of all the differences. And then of course under the hood, the differences, and this is my favorite difference, the good old 5-liter V8. So basically the same engine as the 302 Windsor. And I did a timing chain on this as well. That's it had a slack timing chain on it when I got it. And you can see I've replaced all these wires, everything. And when I got it, it already had a newer alternator on it, newer radiator in it, bunch of stuff like that. I think the power steering pump's been replaced before. So it's had a lot of that. I put a new water pump on it. It's had a lot of that stuff replaced, but this is the original engine, and I swear it doesn't burn oil. Okay, we're going to go for a 0 to 60 pull right here. From 0. So this car, I'll just show you there. There we go, there's the miles per hour. So 100 was your marker there. If you're in the US, the 100 kilometers an hour is 62 miles per hour actually, so a bit under 100. A little bit of sway. So here's the evidence it's running, and you can see there's no idiot lights anywhere, just the check air suspension lights on because obviously I put coil springs in it. Now this fuel gauge, it's the one glitchy thing. it doesn't always show. Sometimes it blinks off. And the other thing is I actually replaced the fuel pump. The fuel pump started shutting down right after I got the car home. And I put a replacement one in, and what happened is it was so rusted up on the fittings where the lines go in, I couldn't get the lines out in one piece, so I decided to change the pump without disconnecting the lines from the sending unit. I just I pulled it out of the tank under the car and put the new pump in, which isn't a very good way to do it, and I didn't have enough room to work, so I ended up tweaking the float a little bit that reads the level, and so that's why my gauge isn't that accurate now. It still works, but it reads higher than it actually is. When it starts going down on the gauge, it means I've got half a tank, and when it actually gets down to half a tank, that's empty. So we're just going to pop the trunk. So it does have the power button in the glove box. You just need the key on. This is another change I made, as these cars normally have a power trunk motor. It's not too bad. And I took mine out. I actually just made that a solid piece, so you have to slam the lid pretty hard. The reason why they have a pull-down motor is because it's such a big sealing surface. It's actually requires quite a harsh slam to get it shut without the pull-down motor. But that's how I have it, because it was broken when I got it, and because I used this car, or was using it a lot, to tow home projects and stuff, and people are always helping me load, I didn't want people slamming the trunk lid and wrecking the pull down motor, because that does wreck them if you slam it. But you can see it's got the, I don't know, 6-body trunk or whatever jokes people make about it. It's huge anyways, and it works really well for daily family use. Good. I'll just show you how hard you have to close it, just like that. So it's a bit of a slam. I do like that pull down feature. When it's working, it is pretty slick, because you can close your trunk lid silently. Kind of makes you feel stealthy. Just wanted to show the dash at night. So this car, when I got it, had 372,000 kilometers on it, or what was that, 232,000 in miles. So that's how much I put on in a year and a half, about 11,000 kilometers. Thanks for watching Matt's Garage. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and have yourself a great day.